Oh, hi there. My name's Phil Baker. Behind this door is the Theater in the Round at Seton Hall University, where To Kill a Mockingbird, based on the book by Harper Lee and directed by Deirdre Yates, will be performed. You know, it's amazing how much work goes into a production like this. For weeks, the actors, director, and the technicians all pool their efforts to create the world that is Maycomb, Alabama. So tonight, we invite you to see the journey that it takes to create a show like this. And welcome to our walk. Now, before a production begins, the director must make one of the most important steps in the production process, and that is deciding which show to actually perform.
I think the process for picking a show for the season has a lot to do with who we know in terms of our student body, what would be a good educational experience for them as performers, what would be a good educational experience for the university at large, what is within our budget, and of course how the whole season shapes up. So with 4 shows, making sure that we touch upon a classical piece, a Shakespeare piece, maybe a piece of social justice, a musical component, and a show that the student can direct. So for all of them, it's about making that season well-rounded, filled in, fit together, work for our students, work for our budget, work for our university at large. And Mockingbird, I mean, it's just classic. It's just classic, and it's so beautiful. It's always been one of my favorites. It's something that touches my heart, and I think touches a lot of people who know the story. So it would fit into that category of social justice. It's one of my favorite shows. I just thought it was time.
Once a show has been selected, the fun begins. The audition process.
I was looking for the same thing I think I look when I go to any auditions, which is the ability for somebody to take direction and to work together as a team. So it's very important that the actor not only is bringing their ideas to the work, but they're also willing to take ideas, to take direction, to work with others, for it to be a shared experience, and to create an ensemble and a team, and that's what theater is all about.
Auditions can be closed, meaning a single actor reads for the director and stage manager only, or open, where other actors audition in the room as well. During auditions, actors will perform a scene from the show. This scene will usually be unrehearsed, completely formed right then and there. This is referred to as a cold reading. Directors can give notes then to see how well an actor takes direction, or choose to have them read for another character. After the auditions, the director goes through the auditionees and chooses whom they would like to see again and informs those people that they have received a callback.
In an audition process, I'm looking for that, which is very difficult to just say, oh, and you know, in a short audition process, let's see, are you right for the role? Physically and sort of like, you know, intellectually, emotionally, that kind of thing, in terms of like, is this sort of what I had in mind for the role? And are you somebody that is going to be working well with others, working, you know, with me, coming up with your own input, etc. So it's sort of like a whole combination. It's very difficult to make that in a short amount of time, to make that determination.
At callbacks, scenes come together with a group of people to see who has chemistry and which actors are able to play off of and grow off of one another. Callbacks are when we really see a cast list being formed.
Wonder what he does. Looks like he'd stick his head out the door sometime.
He goes out when it's pitch dark. I've seen his tracks in our backyard many a morning, and one night I heard him scratching on the back screen.
Wonder what he looks like.
Judging from his tracks, he's about 6.5 feet tall. He eats raw squirrels and any cats he can catch. What teeth he has are yellow and rotten. His eyes pop, and most of the time he drools.
Let's make him come out.
Make Boo Radley come out?
If you want to get yourself killed, all you have to do is go up and knock on that door.
You're scared? Too scared to put your big toe in the front yard.
Ain't scared, just respectful.
I dare you.
You dare me?
Don't go near it, Jim.
You gonna run out on a dare?
Let me think a minute.
Just touch the house. I dare you.
Touch the house, that's all.
He'll probably come out after you. Then Scout and me will jump on him and we'll hold him down till we can tell him we just want to look at him. Well,
I had to take it as quick as I could. I knew who it was, all right. Passed the house every day. Lived down yonder in that nigger nest. Judge, I've asked this county for 15 years to clean out that nest down yonder. They're dangerous to live around. Besides, if I knew my property.
well, that's all. Thank you, Mr. Yu.
Good, thank you.
Now, a bag of turnips. I'm more than paid.
If you say so.
Scout said something, we had a disagreement the other day. I have a feud with that boy myself, little lady. Scout, I didn't really beat him up. If he can't defend himself against the girl, he'll just have to take it. Much obliged, Mr. Finch.
Anytime I can be of help.
How long has your mother been dead?
Don't know. Long time.
How long did you go to school?
1 year, 2 year, dunno.
Miss Mailer, a 19-year-old girl who must have friends.
After hours of switching actors in and out for different parts, the director will have seen enough and dismiss the actors. Then the director has the tough job of finalizing a cast list. From that list, the show begins.
Going into the auditions, I guess you never want to overdo it. You don't want to underdo it either. So I tried to find a little balance in between. And I went in and I would say I underplayed it a little bit, but I would say it's always safer. And then I felt okay going into the callbacks and then just continue to do what I was doing and do a little bit more in the callbacks.
My thoughts going into auditions. I'm probably not going to get any good role.
So when I first auditioned for To Kill A Mockingbird, I had actually never seen the play, read the book, seen the movie, none of it. So I really didn't know what it was all about. And I think that was exciting for me, coming in like reading something new, and like everyone else knew what it was all about, but I was just like, I don't know. So it made the audition definitely more difficult for me.
It's the same sort of as like with picking any cast. You know, sometimes it's just, some people just, yes, absolutely, and then some are sort of like, yes, for this and this, and how do I make that work, and where do I fit that in? And so I don't think it was any more difficult. I was extremely happy with the way it worked out with the cast that came to be. So I think we had the best grouping of people. I was very, very happy with that.
After the cast list has been posted and actors accept the role and take a script, there is a read-through. The actors and director, and usually the stage manager and assistant stage manager, sit at a large table and read the lines of the play as if they were performing. This allows everyone to see how the play is written, how things are going to move along, and begin to understand their character and how he or she fits into the show.
People said Boo Radley went out at night when the moon was down. When the azaleas froze in a cold snap, it was because he breathed on her. The tall Radley pecan trees shook their fruit into the adjoining schoolyard back, but the nuts lay untouched. Radley pecans could kill you. A baseball hit to the rally yard was a lost ball, and no questions asked.
Mr. Ewell, can you read and write?
Objection. Can't see why witness literacy has to do with the case. Irrelevant and immaterial.
Judge, if you allow the question plus another one, you'll see soon.
All right. Make sure we see actors. Overruled.
The rehearsal process is a grueling process that lasts about 2 months. Each scene is worked to the core, from understanding the lines, to getting blocking down, to showing the theme that is relevant to the essence of the play.
Whether it's the right one or the wrong one, you have to have an objective no matter what. Otherwise, it's a completely diffused performance. So it has to be focused. Even if it's the wrong objective, at least if you have an objective, you're focused on doing something. Yes, I'm obsessive about objectives. It is my objective to make sure everyone has an objective.
I thought, as I was reading, I thought, how would an older her see herself? Like, how would a teenager, how would an adult view this child? And then I sat there and I thought for a while, and I thought of a woman. I read the script again, and I thought of a woman who was proud of where she came from, but was able to realize the faults and problems with her childhood. And I think that made her really strong. So I wanted to play a strong woman who knew where she came from and was able to acknowledge what was wrong, but also what was good about the things that happened and what she had learned from them.
Finding an objective and finding objectives for each particular beat, and then those objectives building on each other to make the overall super objective for your character and for the play, vitally important to the process, and a long process. It doesn't just happen overnight. You don't just wake up in the morning and say, oh, I got my objective. You've got to work with it. You've got to try one, try another, move with this one, expand it to that, finesse it here. Look at me. Look how much I care. Look how much I'm trying to do what you want because I want you to love me. Do you know what I mean? So each moment builds on that. Does everybody follow what I'm saying? Each moment in the play builds to the overall objective. And you got to see how each one of those is taking you to your overall objective, each thing that you're doing. So it's a little tricky. I love the rehearsal process. I love the rehearsal process more than I enjoyed the performance process. I love working on the script, working on the text, particularly when you have a text that's so rich, that's so well written. So I love to break it down, to let an actor read it again, to hear it again, to say it again, to have an actor read a line and for me to say, what? And then they say it again and for me to say, what? And in doing so, they've got to think about it. And so the assumption when somebody says what to you is that the person asking the question what, didn't understand it, didn't get it. So they have to think, how can I make this clearer? How can I make you get this? How can I make you understand this? And in doing that, they have to think back, what am I trying to do? What's my objective here? What do I want to get across? How can I get that across? How can I get it across differently than I thought I just did? Maybe I didn't get it across. And language is so important. The words, what do they mean? So saying it again, say it again, try it a different way, experiment with it, see what would change, how you would feel differently if you said something differently. It's just a fascinating process to me.
He was a lawyer and nearly 50.
How old was he?
Nearly 50.
How old?
Nearly 50.
Now how old was he?
He was nearly 50.
Oh, nearly how old?
50.
Ooh, wow. You think that's old?
Yeah.
It's not that old, trust me. But you think it's that old?
When I was young, it was old.
Yeah, and at 28, 29, 30, it was old?
All right.
I'm just curious.
That is true. No, probably not.
So he was a lawyer, and how old was he?
Nearly 50.
But you think it's old, yes? And when you were scout, you thought it was old, yes?
Yeah.
So tell me again how old he was?
Nearly 50.
Wow. Lawyer, good news, bad news? Oh. All right, let me hear that again.
He was a lawyer and nearly 50.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's exciting to me. Go ahead.
When my brother Jim asked him why he was so old, he said...
Why he was so what?
When he was so old,
He said he got started late.
I'm interested to hear how Atticus views all three of them and his relationship, how you see his relationship with all three of them.
Right now?
Yeah, I'd be interested right now.
I think Dill is great also. I realized that Dill is a little, smarter, and he notices some more things. And I feel for him because I've talked to his aunt. I know or talked to his aunt, talked to his family, and so I know the situation, or I can further understand the situation. So Dill staying with us is okay and all that. Initially, my objective was to make sure that everybody in the show was equal, and all my kids were equal, and every character was equal, and because that is a big part of To Kill a Mockingbird, the equality of everybody, black or white, kids or adults, doesn't matter. But as I went, further and further into it, it started to become to step into somebody else's shoes, which was also a huge part of the show. So the objective really switched to step in somebody else's shoes and then see what I would do. And then as I was doing that, it led a good example for my kids, and so that really became the main thing. But as an actor, as looking at it, what I was trying to do was just be myself and put myself into Atticus.
Jem was complicated. His objective. He was angry. He was frustrated. He wanted Atticus and the whole situation to just he was obviously not happy with the way things in the town were going. He was getting picked on in school. Atticus was focused more on Scout, so he wanted to understand.
As rehearsals go on, set pieces will slowly be incorporated for actors to become familiar with where they will be acting. Whether expressly or implicitly stated in the script, things like windows, walls, or almost anything is used to create a world for the audience. In To Kill a Mockingbird, we had to create the world of Maycomb, Alabama in 1935.
I had an old print from my grandmother that was called Shacks by the Highway. And when I did research on the artist, it turned out that the artist was the poet laureate of Alabama, and she liked to do these woodcuts of dilapidated buildings in Alabama. So the buildings basically conjured up the image of the town that the play took place. What difficulties did I face building the set was trying to create a town with minimalist suggestions of setting in the round, and trying to make it sort of still appear like a town with locations, but at the same time giving it enough flexibility in terms of area location for the actors to move around.
I felt I had the right people to tell it, and I felt that we could tell the story. The difficulty is that it's in making it work in the round was tricky, because the way it's designed is for 2 levels, and it being very much in a proscenium, and a street scene up above on the 2nd level, and that 2nd level then transitioning into the jury, and it being very much with lots of different entrances and exits, very much fashioned for a proscenium.
I think the lighting of the show, more than the scenery, was more important to creating the mood and the dramatic flow, so that you got a sense in terms of where the play was going and how it was progressing and what the characters were saying in terms of inner monologue and outer monologue, flashback, narration, and creating a context for the audience. So the lighting worked with the scenery in order to create that environment. So the lighting was probably more important than the scenery.
So putting it in the round was tricky. So I think in that regard, it was difficult. Although I think once we settled on on a particular vision and choice, then it really did fall into place. But I think prior to that, it was difficult, strictly because it's just very, very clearly designed for a proscenium stage.
Tech Week is the most difficult week. Usually 4 to 5 days of running the show from beginning to end, with full crew and technical aspects of lights and sounds. Right into opening night with a full audience when the adrenaline is pumping and all the hard work has paid off.
If I had to pick a favorite scene, I have two. One, it's really fun to do the whole, like, Boo Radley comes saves us, and it's dark, and we're getting pushed around, and I fall over, which kind of did happen for real on one of the shows. But that's a really fun scene just to get to act, because it's dark and exciting, and it's not something you usually get to do.
Why?
Oh, that's just the sound of the thunderstorm, Jim.
No, not that, Scout. Listen.
Well, I hear it too.
He's coming, Scout. Run, Scout, run!
Oh, yeah, Trip.
Where are you, Scout?
Oh,
yeah. Run, Scout!
What is it? Who called? What's all that noise? What's going on? Oh my God, Jim! Jim, what's happened? What's happened to him? He's on count. Please call Dr. Reynolds, quick. Tell him urgent. Go on, inside. Put him down. Scout, where's Scout? Scout.
And then I really like the scene where I get to talk with Atticus. It felt very natural with Ben as Atticus. He was so fun to act with as a dad. And I love the scene when we're sitting on the porch swing and I'm so upset that all the kids are making fun of him and our family. And it felt so fatherly and it felt very real, and I think that's why I liked acting in it so much.
I've been meaning to ask. Atticus, you defend niggers.
Of course I do. And don't say nigger, Scout, that's common.
That's what everybody at school says.
Well, from now on, it'll be everybody less one.
All lawyers defend Negroes.
Well, they do.
Well, why is everyone at school making it sound like you're doing something awful?
Well, you aren't old enough to understand some things yet. But there's been some high talk around town that I shouldn't do much about defending Tom Robinson. But I'm going to defend that man.
Well, if everyone says you shouldn't, why are you doing it?
Well, the main reason, if I didn't defend Tom Robinson, I couldn't hold my head up. I couldn't even tell you or Jem not to do something again.
Jimmy, you wouldn't have to mind you anymore?
That's about right.
Well, why?
I could never ask you to mind me anymore. You see, every lawyer in his lifetime gets a case that affects him personally. This one's mine, I guess.
Are we going to win it?
No, honey.
But then why are you...
Well, simply because you were licked 100 years before you got started, there's no reason for you to not to try.
Favorite scene in the play? I'm gonna go with the scene where Mrs. DuBose comes out and she's picking on Jem and Scout, and Jem is like, listen, Scout, like, forget her, let's just go. You know, hold your head up high, be a gentleman, let's go. And then Mrs. DuBose is just like, nope, your dad sucks, and he's a terrible person. And then Jem just flips out and just goes crazy. That was like the first time I've ever gotten that angry on stage. Even in 12 Angry Men, I was not that angry.
Come on, Scout. Don't pay any attention. Just hold your head high and be a gentleman.
Lovelier lady than your mother never lived. It's shocking the way Atticus lets her children run wild.
I'm with you.
We'll keep walking.
Not only a bench waiting on tables, but one in the courthouse, lawn for niggers.
Let's keep going, man.
What has this world come to with the benches going against their ratings? Your daddy's no better than the trash he works for.
I'll fix her.
Keep your head high,
She has no right.
Jim, don't
Just
do it.
because Atticus. Why is everybody?
Jim, stop.
Go home, Scout.
My favorite scene in To Kill a Mockingbird was definitely the courtroom scene. It was just really fun to be able to work with an ensemble on stage, because I think that's a really rare thing to be able to do in straight theater, work with such a huge ensemble and to have everyone on stage at the same time. To be able to sit in the courtroom scene and feel it all build up, and, you know, to when moments where, you know, Mayella is sobbing and her father is screaming, and finally to that monologue that Ben Atticus Finch did, it was just really moving. And you wouldn't expect it being in this show that's so well known, but going through it every single day, I still got chills, and, you know, just the natural feedback that I felt from the things that were happening. It was amazing.
Where were the other children? Why didn't they hear you? Why didn't your screams make them come running? Or didn't you scream until you saw your father in the window? You didn't scream until then, did you? Did you scream at your father instead of Tom Robinson? Is that it? Who beat you up? Tom Robinson or your father? What did your father really see in that window, Miss Mayella? Why don't you tell the truth, child? Didn't Bob Ewell beat you up?
I got something to say.
Do you want to tell us what happened?
I got something to say, and then I ain't gonna say no more. That black man yonder took advantage of me. And if you fine, fancy gentlemen ain't gonna do nothing about it, then you're all young, stinking cowards. Stinking cowards, the lot of you. And you fine, fancy heirs don't come to nothing. Your mammy and Miss Mayella don't come to nothing, Mr. Finch.
Away. Out of sight. And what was the evidence? The evidence that must be destroyed is Tom Robinson, a human being. Tom Robinson, a daily reminder of what she did. And what did she do? She tempted a Negro. She did something that in our society is unspeakable. She's white, and she tempted a Negro. Not an old uncle, but a strong, young, black man. No code mattered to her before she broke it, but it came crashing down on her afterwards. And Mr. Ewell saw what she did. And what did he do? Well, there is circumstantial evidence that Mayella Ewell was beaten savagely by someone who led almost exclusively with his left hand. To him, you know! Then you... In our courts, all men are created equal. Now, I'm no idealist to believe so firmly in the integrity of our courts and our jury system. That's no ideal to me. It is a living, working reality. But a court is only as sound as its jury. And the jury is only as sound as the people that make it up. I am confident that you will review without passion the evidence that you have heard. Come to a decision and restore this man to his family. In the name of God, do your duty. In the name of God, believe him.
It would have to be when Heck Tate appears and tells us that Tom Robinson is dead. I remember in the book being very emotional at that time. It was very solemnly written. It was just a description, if I remember correctly. There was no dialogue, it was just a description. Kind of like what I do before we find out that he's dead. But I feel as though the way Deirdre directed the scene to go was incredibly powerful. I always had goosebumps during that scene because it was so raw and powerful, really. The solemn lighting, the lack of music, and the way Jalen approached Sammy behind her, and just how raw and upsetting Sammy was. just sitting there grieving. It was incredible.
I wanted you to see what real courage is, Jen.
Got some good news, Finch.
Courage isn't a man with a knife in his hand. It's when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway, and you see it through no matter what. You rarely win, but sometimes you do. Mrs. DeBow is one, all 98 pounds of her.
Don't you want to hear, Finch?
Mr. Finch, Cal, please!
What is it? What's wrong, Ellie?
Atticus.
Cal?
What the children? Not the children.
What is it?
I'll tell you. They shot that nigga.
Tom's dead.
Mr. Finch, they shot Tom.
Heck?
He was running. He was doing the exercise period. They say he just broke into a blind raving charge and started climbing over the fence, right in front of him.
Oh my God. Cal, please take Helen inside. You children go inside.
They put 17 bullet holes in him.
I said for you to go inside. Didn't they try to stop him? Did they try to give him any warning?
They shouted, and then they shot a few warning shots off into the air. They didn't shoot at him until he was almost over the fence.
Mr. Finch, how could they shoot Tom?
Helen, to them, he wasn't Tom. To them, he was just an escaping prisoner.
But why did he ring for the appeal?
I don't know. I told him we had a chance, but I couldn't say we had more than a chance. I guess Tom was fed up with white men's chances.
I think the Mad Dog scene, because like that is Calpurnia's scene. Like a lot of people will say, oh, it's your scene, because that's really when you see every side of her. You see the worried like mom type, you see like the disciplinarian, you just see every part of her in that scene. She really takes control, she tells the kids what's what, and she's calm, but like not extremely calm. She's still a little bit frazzled, and so you do kind of see a more vulnerable side of Calpurnia, not as much as you see at the end when Jem gets injured, but a little more of a vulnerable side of her because there's a dog coming and she like doesn't know what to do. And so I really like that part because it really lets the character like shine, and like you get to see her as a character in that scene.
What is it, Jan? I can't come out every time you want me.
That old dog down yonder is sick.
I can't fix up any dog.
No, Cal, hurry!
Trying to catch his tail?
No, he's walking like this.
You telling me a story, Jen?
No, Cal, he's coming this way.
Running?
Just moseying, but walking funny.
All right, you two get off the street. I'll call him.
Come on.
Listen to me. You go back and you stay. I just want to shout. You go back. She's not scared one bit. Hush.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, he just looks sick.
He's got it all right, Mr. Finch.
Is he looking for a place to die, Mr. Heck?
Not yet, Jim. He hasn't got started yet.
He's within range, Heck. You better get him now. Before he goes down the side street, Lord knows who's waiting around the corner. Cal, come on, you two.
Inside the house.
Oh, if he gets closer.
Oh, I'm not going unless he goes in. Just then.
Definitely had a different persona in scenes with Scout and Dill as opposed to Atticus. With Scout and Dill, in the opening scene, where all of us are playing and trying to get Boo Radley out of the house, it was more playful. We were like little kids, you know, just fooling around. And then I was like the big brother to Scout. I was like telling her not to eat the gum, not that kind of stuff.
It's really fun to act with the other kids on stage because once we decided to let ourselves act like kids, like a lot of fun things could happen. And like when we jump up and down because we're so excited that Dill gets to stay with us, or when we're trying to get Boo Radley out, it was really fun because you kind of get to act like a kid when you're on stage acting with them, and it was nice to do it with them.
And Dusty. Of course I am. See, I got a new daddy, and he doesn't like me very much. So he had me bound in chains and left to die in the basement. But secretly, I was kept alive on raw field beans given to me by a passing farmer who heard my cries for help.
But if you were chained up in the basement...
He poked a bushel of beans to me, pod by pod, through the ventilator.
Lucky for you, that my Spanish passage.
I worked myself free, pulling the chains from the walls, then still in wrist irons. I wandered, where I discovered a small animal show where they hired me to wash the camel.
Oh, how do you go about washing a camel?
I traveled just about everywhere with that show till my wonderful sense of direction told me I was just across the river from Macon. What I did next...
How did you get here?
Hey, Jim. Jim, what did you do?
I was speaking to Bill.
I think your direction has to morph, change, grow, develop with the process. So you have to know as you're going through the process, you have to be constantly aware of where you are, where you want to go, and how to get there. So it has to change. And by the end of in the very beginning of the process, you're vitally important to the production. By the time that the process is reaching its end, you should be able to step back and let those actors take that and fly with it, because that's the ultimate goal, to share it with the audience.
Me? I heard what Heck said.
Jane, please.
Yes, Mr. Boo?
Will you take me home?
Tolerance, being able to see something from somebody else's point of view, and therefore better understanding of humanity, which is really at the core of all of theater. So walking in somebody else's shoes and then saying, oh, I see, that's why they acted that way, that's why they feel that way, that's why they're reacting to this in this particular fashion. I get it, I understand. It becomes a shared experience, shared humanity, and then we can have tolerance and understanding for others. Tolerance.
Atticus, Mr. Tate said about dragging Boo into the limelight, I think he was right.
What do you mean?
Well, it'd be kind of like shooting a mockingbird.
Yes. Yes, it would. Let's go be with Jen.
You did know. Well, Atticus, all those ideas we had about Boo Radley, but he's really nice.
Well, most people are, Scout, when you finally see them.
I was really happy with this production, very, very happy with this production. I was excited by the turnout. I was excited by how many people enjoyed it, got it. I felt it in that regard. We were so successful with that. It was terrific to have the American College Theater Festival come and be so supportive of it and nominate students and really get it and get our concept and enjoy it. And so that was terrific, and I'm very proud of it. It's up there with a lot of my other ones that that I really like. That was a good one. I loved it.
After 2 months of preparation, long rehearsals, hard work, and dedication, the cast takes its final bow, and the stage is cleared to make way for the next theatrical journey, as all good things must come to an end. I'm Phil Baker, and thank you for walking with me.